All right, joining us now from New York to talk about SpaceX's momentous Falcon 9 launch this morning, science and technology writer for Space.com, Dave Brody joins us. Glad to have you back, Dave. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Kevin.
So,
how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And obviously a huge, huge day for space exploration. But how important was the fact that this launch was by a private company?
Well, it's significant in the short term, but it's absolutely huge in the long term, if you accept my opinion. And the reason is simple. You know, space commercialization means competition. SpaceX has competitors. They have some early mover advantage, but they've got some other companies that are hot on their tail. And when you've got competition in a marketplace, it tends to drive the price down. That's how we get you in low Earth orbit playing your drums, speaking Portuguese, rapping in Portuguese, having a great time, and also more significant things for the human species.
I was going to say, that sounds like a giant waste of technology and budget if it's just to send me to rap in Portuguese in suborbit. But what kind of stuff can we do when this becomes so cheap and affordable that there's multiple companies doing it?
Well, so the first thing that NASA is paying SpaceX to do, and also a company called Orbital Sciences, is to supply the space station. And, you know, that's important. Right now, we have to pay the Russians to bring both freight and people to space station. We'd really like to be able to do that with some homegrown stuff, we Americans that we are. So that's a pretty significant thing in the very short term. But it also means that as this cost to orbit goes down, you can start building some really cool stuff. Private industry can get in the game. We can do microgravity processing for electronics, for medical stuff, for genomics and genetics. And eventually, we start living above the atmosphere, not in small tin cans, but in great big habitats. That's when you actually have an interesting place to go if you're a space tourist. So now you've got a cheap ride and an interesting place to go. Call it Las Vegas in orbit,
sure,
if you will. That's when the rest of us get to have a little bit of fun.
And in between that, do we get better maps on Google, at least? Just some higher resolution imagery? Does that happen?
Well, not necessarily as a result of this, although cheap access to space makes everything less expensive. Good Google image stuff can be done by robots, but there's no reason why this launch technology can't spin down market as well as up market into human-rated vehicles.
So the Falcon 9 rocket, it took the Dragon spacecraft into orbit, and you know you mentioned some of the missions, but what's its main goal right now? Is it just to resupply the ISS?
It is to resupply the ISS. That's what it's being paid to do. But, you know, the folks at SpaceX, that was a beautiful package that you guys did down in Hawthorne.
Thank you. I spent all night in Final Cut myself.
Really well done, Kevin.
Thank you.
You've learned a thing or two in my course. But, you know, beyond just getting this done for NASA, they've got an agenda. They're going to make Falcon a bigger and bigger rocket. Right now it's a Falcon 9, soon a Falcon 9 Heavy, which has twice the payload capacity of the space shuttle. And who knows what beyond that? You know, Falcon 16, the number refers to the number of engines in the bottom. Right. And you know, that Falcon name, you may have heard that before. Anybody remember Millennium Falcon? The ship that did the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs?
I do recall that. I just thought when I saw the Falcon and then the Dragon spacecraft, I thought maybe like somebody in the engineering department saw Rain of Fire too many times, and they were just hell-bent on calling things Dragon names.
You're close. Here's the story with Dragon. You know, Elon Musk, you profiled him a little bit in that package. His good buddies, when he heard that he wanted to get in the rocket business, said, well, you know, Elon, you must be smoking something. Elon's way of coming back was to name the capsule Dragon after Puff the Magic Dragon.
Oh, I thought it was after like Dragon Kush, like a nice OG strain, but that's interesting. So now the Dragon spacecraft is in orbit and it has to dock with the ISS, and I'm told that is it's difficult. But does that mean like parallel parking on a slope difficult? Does that mean plugging in a USB cable behind your computer without being able to see it difficult? How tough is this process?
Kind of like sex the first time, you know, because it's the first time in this vehicle and that vehicle.
So it's going to cost like $7 and take 2 seconds. Great, we're going to dock.
That was your history. So the good news here is that it's not SpaceX's challenge. It's mostly NASA.
Okay.
NASA looks at SpaceX's capsule. They look at the Dragon. If they think that the Dragon is perfectly safe, perfectly clean, it's approaching very, very, very slowly, then Dragon just stops in space. And Don Pettit and Andre Kuipers, the two astronauts on the space station, reach out with the Canadarm and they grapple Dragon and they bring it up and berth it. So it doesn't have to do a hard dock, you know. And that should make it very gentle, very easy, and no mess to clean up afterwards.
Dave, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been a very long day for you, but I hope you come back once there's a very successful docking procedure. Dave Brody from Space.com.
Would love to.
Thank you for keeping us in the loop.